I inherited $50,000 and lost it all in 14 months. This is exactly what happened to you. You never saw it coming. Not the inheritance, not what it would do to you, and definitely not the morning 18 months later when you'd sit in the same apartment, same car outside, and open your banking app to find that $247,000 had become $19,000. Not stolen, not lost, erased, one completely reasonable decision at a time. This is that story. You're 26, making $42,000 a year, splitting rent with a roommate, driving a car that idles rough in the cold. You know money is tight because you feel it in your body. The slight hesitation before you tap your card, the mental math at the grocery store, the way you say I'm good when friends suggest somewhere nicer. Then your grandmother dies. She was 81. You loved her, and she loved you enough to leave you a number that doesn't feel real when you first see it. $247,000. For 3 days, you don't tell a single person, not your parents, not your best friend, not your partner. You just sit with it. Open your banking app 40 times a day just to confirm it's still there. And there's this warmth in your chest you've never felt before. Not happiness exactly, something deeper, something that feels like safety. For the first time in your adult life, the ground beneath you feels solid. That feeling is the first lie money will tell you. Here's what nobody warns you about. When a large sum arrives, your brain doesn't register it as yours, not immediately. It registers it as found, like something you stumbled across in the street. And the psychology of found money is completely different from earned money. You spend it faster. You justify it differently. You feel almost obligated to spend it because spending feels like claiming it. The wealthy know this. They have structures, advisors, waiting periods, deliberate friction built into every large transaction. They know that the moment money becomes emotional is the moment you stop making decisions and start making reactions. But you don't know any of that yet. So when your lease is up 2 months later and your friend mentions an apartment downtown, exposed brick, rooftop access, 2 bedrooms, you don't hesitate. The rent is $2,400 a month, almost double what you paid before. But you do the math the way people do when they want to justify something. You have nearly $250,000. $2,000 a month is nothing. You sign the lease. And here's where the story really starts. Because that apartment isn't just a rent increase, it's an identity upgrade. And identity upgrades have a gravity to them that you don't feel until you're already falling. The apartment needs furniture that fits the apartment. The furniture requires a kitchen that's actually stocked. The kitchen demands dinner parties. The dinner parties need wine you've never bought before. And suddenly you're not spending money to live. You're spending money to perform a version of yourself that the money made you believe you could be. You tell yourself it's fine. You're investing in your quality of life. Except quality of life isn't an asset. It doesn't compound. It doesn't generate a return. It just costs. 3 months in, you've spent $34,000. The apartment transition, the furniture, a trip to Europe you'd always wanted to take, a used BMW that made more sense to you than it had any right to. You still have over $200,000. You're fine. You're completely fine. Stop, because this right here is the moment. This is the exact point in almost every windfall story where the same thing happens and almost nobody catches it. You feel wealthy. You feel like someone who has money. And that identity starts pulling every decision you make into alignment with it. You stop checking prices. You stop the mental math. You say yes faster and no slower. These aren't moral failures. They're not even mistakes yet. They're just the quiet rewiring of behavioral patterns that took years to build, happening in months. The money isn't disappearing yet. The mindset is, and that's worse. By month 6, you've caught fire with a new idea, a podcast, a finance influencer. You decide you should be investing the inheritance, not just letting it sit. This feels responsible. This feels like growth. You open a brokerage account, which is genuinely a good move. But then you find the trading forums. You put $40,000 into individual stocks because 3 of them are obvious. You know this because you've been reading about them for 6 weeks, which feels like expertise. 1 of them triples. You make $18,000 on paper in 90 days. Now you are dangerous. Nothing teaches the wrong lesson faster than a win you didn't fully earn. You pull the winnings and put $60,000 back in. Different stocks, higher risk, better upside. You've done the research. 11 months later, you've lost $51,000 of that $60,000. You don't tell anyone. You're now 14 months out from the inheritance, a little over $100,000 left, which still sounds like a lot. And that's exactly the trap. It still sounds like a lot. So your behavior doesn't correct. It doesn't have to. Not yet. But there's a low hum of anxiety that wasn't there before. You feel it first thing in the morning. Vague. Unlocatable. And here's the part that doesn't make it into the finance videos. You spend to manage it. Not on big things, just constantly. Delivery every night. Subscriptions you don't track. A weekend trip because you need a reset. Another trip because the first one didn't work. Small purchases. Perfectly logical in isolation. Together, absolutely devastating. Month 18, same apartment, same car outside, $19,000 in your account. You do the real math, not the convenient math, not the I still have enough math. You add up everything. The apartment, the trip to Europe, the car, the furniture, the trading losses, the food, the trips, the subscriptions, the quiet daily erosion of 1,000 small choices. $247,000. Gone. Not stolen, not blown on something dramatic, gone through a series of completely reasonable decisions made by someone who never once changed the fundamental way they related to money. And here's the realization that splits your life into before and after. The inheritance didn't disappear because you were irresponsible. It disappeared because you were exactly the same person you were before it arrived, just with more to work with. The spending patterns that made when $10 feel tight, they scaled. The lifestyle inflation that crept in slowly on a salary happened instantly with the windfall. The emotional relationship with money, spending when stressed, treating yourself when uncertain, using purchases to perform the version of yourself you wanted to be, none of that changed just because the balance did. Money doesn't transform you, it amplifies you. And if the underlying patterns are broken, more money just breaks you faster. The wealthy don't protect their wealth with better spreadsheets. They protect it with identity, with the deep, boring, unsexy belief that wealth is not something you display. It's something you build. That money is a tool, not a mirror. That your lifestyle should lag your income, not race ahead of it. They put friction between themselves and their money, deliberately. Waiting periods, separate accounts, money they literally cannot access for years. Not because they don't trust themselves, but because they understand that emotion and money in the same room will always cost you. You learned this lesson for $247,000. Some people never learn it at all. So here's the only question that actually matters. If money arrived in your life tomorrow, really arrived, the kind of number that changes everything, would you be ready for it? Not with a plan, not with a spreadsheet. Ready. In the way you think about money, the way you respond to it, the stories you tell yourself about what you deserve and what it means. Because the money will find your patterns, whatever they are. The only question is whether you'll find them first.